Boys, we're back. Champion Living Podcast. We got the one and only Caleb Bennett on today. 10-time NFR qualifier, the Bareback riding director. What else do you do?
Well, I'm a coach with you guys as well.
Oh, forgot about that.
Come on.
Wow. I was making sure you remembered. You've been so busy out here. I'm just kidding. We're stoked to have you on today, brother. I want to talk about the rodeo for a bit because it's just what you've been in the locker room every day with these guys. So what's the vibe after the E-Pin last night?
Well, after or during the E-Pin last
Both.
night? Because
very quiet locker room before.
It was oddly quiet last night, but to be expected. Some guys handled the E-Pin a little bit different than others, and this being a kind of a younger group of kids, for the most part. I mean, a couple of them 3 first-timers this year. A couple made it last year for their first time. The energy is still good. It was still really good in there, but a little quieter. Yeah, a little quieter. But tonight, I'll bet you they're going to be jumping for joy and playing tricks and jokes. And
what's the pin today?
So the pin tonight's just what we call our one pin. So it's just a step down from what we seen in round one, as far as just nice horses to get on. Hoppers is what we kind of call them, but still kind of, the right kind, as long as everything performs the way they're supposed to. The kind that should be here, and the hoppers, the ones that they should be able to tee off on, and the ones that stub a toe aren't going to win a dime, and the ones that do their job are going to be your winners.
You talked about like a one pin, so you have numbers for each pin. Will you just kind of break that down so listeners can understand the strategy that goes behind that and what essentially you're testing each round with the guys?
Yeah. So basically we start out with well over 400 horses when we start this process, and have to narrow it down to our best 105. And then at that 105, we separate them and break them into pins of 20 minus what we call our 4 pin, which is our eliminator pin. And that pin has 25 horses in it. We bring 5 extras in that. Main reason for that being is over the years we've noticed in that eliminator pen, a lot of them kick the lights out and buck so hard that when you go to bring them back that next time, sometimes their hocks and stuff are a little bit sore.
Yeah.
So in order to kind of keep them bucking and not wanting to trail off or, because they're sore, we end up rotating 10 new horses in the next time out. So only 5 horses from last night's round are actually coming back for round 8. And then, we break them down into 5 pins. We have the 1 pin, 2 pin, 3 pin, 4 pin, and 5 pin. And the 1 pin is our hoppers. The 2 pin would be what we call our juiced up or souped up hoppers.
So like the first one's a warm up for the guys, essentially.
The first round?
Yeah.
I start this with the 2 pin. So I started with the souped up, more juicier hoppers.
Okay.
And then round 2 goes into your semi eliminators or pin 3. And then we jump from the semis into the next big jump, which would be last night's round, the eliminators. And then to kind of give the guys a break after the eliminators, we go back to that 1 pin.
Have you always set it up like that?
Always done it like that. Kind of breaks it down, because come tomorrow night in that TV pen, those are their horses that a guy has an opportunity to be 88 plus on every time a guy nods their head.
Yeah.
But there's horses in that pen that are just as strong as last night's pen in a roundabout way, but just maybe more timing to them. Going to get in the air, going to be way more showy, but dang sure just as strong and powerful. So to kind of separate that so they're not getting on a couple of really strong ones back to back, we throw them out a little fun pen that they can all
so
have a good time
to keep them coming back.
Yeah, to keep them coming back for more.
Yeah. So to kind of like wrap my brain around this, like you're numbering them like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of like in an ascending order of difficulty or like animal score. I mean, more or less like how you guys know they're going to feel, but like from a fan's perspective, it's like, 1 would be the quote unquote easiest group, and then 5 is going to be the more difficult.
So
basically maybe not difficult, but higher scoring. So that's the best way to put it. Your 1 pen's pretty much your nicest to ride, best to get along with type set of horses.
And then we just continue to go up there, where you get the 2-pin, there's a couple in there that maybe could stub a guy's toe, and then the 3-pin, there's a handful that could maybe put a guy on the ground. The 4-pin, there's a lot that could put a guy on the ground or not ride very pretty. And then and as if you pay attention, or if we've noticed the last 3 rounds, some of the scores in round 1 were a little bit lower than what they might have been in round 2. Mm-hmm. And then last night's round, we've seen Jess Pope win it with an 89.5. So far, the highest marked ride of the bareback riding, and then dose it down. But in a roundabout way, you're going from pen wise, like horses you can be
the score potential
mid 80s on to higher 80s to now a little higher than the mids to high, and then you work
close
up
to that mic for me.
You work up the ladder there.
Cool. When you said so in the E-pin they drop 5, bringing 5 new ones, do you guys drop it?
We drop 10.
Oh, so you're only bringing back 5?
Yeah, that's the pin we have 5 extra horses in. Okay.
So for the other rounds, do you drop any of the low marked horses for that and exchange them for new ones when you come back to that second,
yes,
1 pin or 2 pin?
Yes. So per policy, per rule book, every horse brought here has to be bucked, has to be competed on. It can't just stay in the re-rides. So the next time around, the 5 horses, because there's 20 horses in a pen minus the E-pen, and so those 5 horses that didn't get used, unless they got used, have to be put in the draw the next time around. So we go through it nightly after the performance while it's fresh on everybody's mind. We just seen it. Guys just got on them, and we cut the weakest links out of there to bring the next 5 up into there.
So as a group with the riders, you guys are deciding they're getting to have a say in it.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's been one of my biggest, I guess, valued points to being the director or the bareback riding representative is, like guys always come to me or contractors, well, you get the final say. Why didn't you take this horse? Or why didn't you do that? Well, yeah, I might get the final say, but once again, I'm the bareback rider's representative. I'm supposed to represent them, not just me, in my opinion. So years past when I've been here competing and doing this, I've got a little more dog in the fight. But like these last couple of years, just being the representative, they value my opinion, which shows the respect they have for me, and I respect that and appreciate that. But at the same time, I'm their representative. I'll give them my opinions on things, and if they like it and don't like it, whatever it be, but at the end of the day, I represent them and their decisions. So if they want it, even if I disagree, that's what I do.
Bennett 2028.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just at OPA together, and Tim, who's been to the NFR however many times and has 3 gold buckles, I mean, he admitted to all the guys, he's like, Caleb Bennett is the best director that we've ever had. And that's the reason, right? Is because you actually you don't let the authority that you have like dictate. You really do represent the guys. Well, in which it's a job that if anybody envies you in the job that you do and they want that job, they obviously don't understand the job. Like there can't be a lot of guys that are signing up to be the director and do the work that it takes to try to put good pens together and all the other things you have to do.
No, not really. I mean, it's not necessarily a job maybe I even wanted when I started, if you want me to be honest. But I had a lot of guys pushing for me, a lot of guys, wanting me in there. And so at the end of the day, I ran and got the position and started doing this. Yeah, it's been 8 years of doing this now. So it keeps the guy busy, though. But there is you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't in the bareback riding. As the bareback riding director, like you're never going to please everybody, from contestants to contractors to committees to whatever it be. But once again, my job is to try to consider and take in the mind when decisions are to be made. Like Pro Rodeo is a whole organization, not just about bareback riding, as much as I'd want it to be and love it to be. But you got to keep that in mind, and then also the guys' opinions, the committee's opinions. Things that help one might not help the other. And you got to take that into consideration and what's going to be best for the sport. Also, what's going to be best for my guys. But, one's got to take maybe more of a hit one way or the other. So it's just, you're always I'm always catching grief for getting, bad phone calls or text messages about not doing the right thing or this is that. And then I have to explain why I did it. And then sometimes they say sorry, or sometimes they just tell me I'm still a piece of shit and roll on.
Oh man, there's a lot to it. And nobody, I think, understands exactly what the director does because there's so many moving parts. Like just the fact alone of taking the horse list from 400 down to, what was it,
105.
105. And you guys are doing that through multiple phone calls, right?
Multiple phone calls.
With all the bareback riders, or the ones that get on the call.
Yeah, more this year than ever.
And how long did those last, like those calls?
So I've actually had to start setting a time cap. Even if I have to do more calls throughout the span I'm given to make these choices and these cuts, I've had phone calls in the past go as long as 4 hours one evening, and being that a guy that was, riding bareback horses, working as a coach with Champion Living, trying to do the director thing, still trying to be a husband at home and having a place to take care of. Like, my time's valued as well. So I have to kind of set a time cap of 2 hours a night. This year, leading up to the NFR, was by far the most phone calls, most time spent on the phone, and most headache it's ever been to pick what we considered the best 105 horses to come here, which is a pain. Don't get me wrong, but it's also awesome because that just means them contractors are stepping up.
There's that many.
Is it because there's so many?
There is literally that many better horses to go get on. And I've said it every year, and I say it again this year, and know that there's even more horses we left at home this year than ever that probably deserve and belong here. But at the end of the day, I only get to bring 105, and it comes down to just little stupid things, like, oh, well, this one's a paint, so the judges might think he's flashier.
Yeah,
let's bring him. This one has a full tail and that one doesn't, so let's bring him. He'll look prettier, or something just ridiculous like that.
What about the one you brought with no tail?
Well, you can thank your brother for that one.
I told them when we're like, Doug was like, I've never seen an app that has a tail. I was like, I wouldn't trust it. If I showed up and I drew an app with a full tail, turning out,
no,
I'm going home.
He isn't going to buck. Every app that bucks does not have a tail.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Funny, dude. Okay. I want to hear about what's like the most high stress situation you've had to deal with as a director.
High stress situation. I mean, being here at the NFR.
Yeah, so
with these horses, that is probably the most high stress thing that I do or done. Like, being here as a competitor and directing, I was always able to do the director job. Once that part was done and it was time to focus on my riding, it was time to go to work on that mentally, And a guy gets nervous here. Don't get me wrong, especially competing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just part of it. Like, but my nerves last year and this year are almost as bad, if not worse, as when I've been here competing. Because just from sun up to sundown, sometimes a couple nights since I've been here even keep me awake at night, worrying about, okay, is this horse in the right pen? Do I need to move that? Did we bring the right horses? Do I need to adjust this? Do I need to adjust that? This is just a job that maybe I overthink and overanalyze at times, but it's riding bucking horses is a huge passion. Rodeo is a passion, and having this opportunity and these guys put that much trust into me carrying this job forward just makes me try that much harder. And so that's probably one of the most stressful deals, is actually being here and not competing, because now I don't literally have a dog in the fight to go out there. But I don't want to let one of these 15 guys down and not give them an honest shot at the night, the round, and possibly a world championship at the end of this. And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily on me, but I put the blame on me if things don't go right out in the arena or a horse fails. Like, I'm the first one to be disappointed, and I point the finger at me. I don't point the finger at them. I point the finger at me.
Bareback riders are lucky to have you. Very, very lucky to have you, man. it matters so much, the representation that those guys have, because all of these, especially here, those things matter. The pins being even is the biggest thing, right? You can't control the judges. You can't control what the horse does at the end of the day. But on paper, looking at the percentages, like 98% of the time or 5% of the time, this horse does that, like it matters, because otherwise guys, they have bad luck and they draw that one that isn't fit and they don't win any money here. And this is what their whole year is banking on. It's so important to have someone like you that you care so much, dude. That's why you put so much pressure on yourself. That's why you lay awake at night. Like, did I set these pins right for these guys? Because that their whole life depends on it. So we need like a director school, because before I met you, I had no idea what the director really did, besides like, if you have a problem, call him. Like, okay. But if we don't have people knowing what directors do, how do we get better new directors, when you're not around for it?
Yeah.
Or get tired of everyone's crap.
It took me 2 years just to kind of freaking get things under my hat to where I was fully confident in the position. And at that point, your term's up. So if you don't get voted back, by the time you finally get comfortable with the position and maybe standing up for it and doing what's right or this or that, all of a sudden you get voted out, and then a whole new guy comes in, and there is no pamphlet. There is no instructions. No, there's no guide.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like they just, I took the
You're
position.
now.
I took the position after Heath Ford and showed up to my first NFR stock meeting.
Yeah, that's what
here with LBE,
right? Was Heath?
Yeah.
Okay.
And had no idea what I was getting myself into. I showed up there blindsided, didn't know, and they're looking around at me and they're like, "Okay, so where's your horses? Where's your presentation?" I'm just like, "What? I supposed to have a presentation for this?" Yeah, let me get back to you guys on that.
Yeah.
And anyway, I ended up just mumbling and fumbling through it. And it was horrible. But there's just little things like that, there's no, it takes the experience. If someone can't really set you aside and maybe kind of just guide you along, or someone maybe interested in the job can't shadow you for your last year doing it.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it other than to just get in there and have the confidence in yourself and in what you think's right and wrong, and try to do the best you can. And after the first 2 years, the only thing, I guess, I want to call it a blessing, I don't know if it is, but I got voted back, and then I got voted back again. And the longer I've been in it, that's what's helped me learn.
Yeah.
More than anything is the experience, which I'm more of a hands-on guy anyway. I learn better by just getting in and getting after it. But
you got to get reps.
You got to get reps.
Yeah. It's not something that like super small scale, but I was the Great Lakes Circuit director so a tiny fragment of any of the responsibilities you have. It was not enjoyable. And then when you draw a good one, they're like, rigged it. You know what I'm saying? Like in the circuit finals, when you actually draw, like I had peaches and cream in the third round one year, and they're like, really? I'm like, dude, am I supposed to just am I supposed to just take the worst one in every pen?
You know what I would have said? I would have said, even if I did, I'm not going to be able to spur him, so who cares?
That's no joke though, because it was probably third or fourth year as being the director. It might have been one of my best years rodeoing as an athlete, and that's all I got that from a lot of people. People that were actually a traveling partner for years prior to that, and then got some hate in their heart, decided to leave me and told me one reason, and next thing I know, they're talking shit behind my back, and it's because of other reasons. And one of them happened to be because I was a director, and they thought I was just getting all my pens and all my draws loaded and rigged for me to win.
Dude, they act like you sit there by yourself in the truck with the hat and chips.
Yeah.
Your own draw.
No. Let me see. Let me just take this hat. Yeah. This is the horse I want. Oh, that's the one I got. Cool. Yeah. No, that's not at all how it works.
There's a room full of people, watching everything to make sure that it's fair and that it goes according to plan. Like, it's ridiculous that people think like that. But we were talking to Stetson Jorgensen a couple of days ago, and we were kind of talking about when things aren't going well for people, they tend to blame everything else but themselves.
Yeah. They blame everything they can around them.
Yeah, they will reach for whatever they can instead of having that hard conversation with themselves in the mirror and saying, wow, I'm just not doing the fundamentals. like I used to.
And that's why those people never progress or get any better.
Yep.
Right there.
The one thing that I did that I probably shouldn't have done, but I suggest it to you too, is that we had like an eliminator round, and then my re-rides were always the fluffiest hoppers. Like if you live through the eliminating round, you get to get on like painted smoke or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't have to do that again. Don't worry. It turns out, the guys don't like that either. So
No.
you know?
Trying to do a big ride.
Yeah. So
How many years you been director? You say 8?
8 years. This would be my 8th year. Yep.
So that is really impressive because usually they get switched out pretty frequently. What's even more impressive, I think, is your career length as a bareback rider. You've been to 10 NFRs. When was it first year in the PRCA? Do you even remember?
My first
He's a
year.
dinosaur.
he's not that old. He can remember.
It was when
Yeah.
Moses was still around.
Yeah, he takes creatine.
Do you
Whoa,
remember your
yeah, I
first
do
year?
take creatine.
I don't
Come on.
remember my first year in the PRCA.
Well, my first year was 2010.
My first year was 2007. I was a
probably
card holder in
2010 too.
2007, which was a huge mistake because my rookie year was also Casey and Tilton's rookie year. Wow, didn't think that through.
No.
But
So
yeah,
you were 18?
2007, 18.
So is that, you graduated high school that year? Or you're-
I also graduated high school that year.
Me
Yep.
too. Me too.
Yep. I was a punk kid and was winning state titles right and left and amateur titles. And I thought, geez, my shit don't stink. I'm going to go clean house, buy my card, bought my permit, filled my permit at the first rodeo. I'm like, this is a cake. Nothing but gold from here on out, right? Never a broke day. Oh, buddy, did I learn the hard way.
What was your first year like?
Rodeoing?
Yeah. So you fill your permit, you buy your card, you're like, we're going.
I went pretty freaking hard. Also found myself having to double back and go to a bunch of amateur rodeos to pay for my next entry fee to go to the pro rodeo because turns out not all of them were as easy as the first couple that I went to. But it was good. It was a good learning experience. It was helped me grow up experience. Learned to really get out, be on my own, be my own person. Heck, traveled with some good friends and good buddies there for them first couple years. I mean, had a good time. None of us were overly rich going into it, nor did we really make crap rodeoing, but we always, pinch pennies together and literally me and one of my first traveling partners, actually, this is a funny story. So we were so tight with our money because we didn't want to go broke that we laid little bedrolls out in the back of his car. And it's hard to describe. We just had to be there. But anyway, we basically had the bedrolls laid out, the back seats folded down.
All the way down, yeah. You fold the front
So
seats forward.
we've laid the back seats so that, because it was just us two, we
Yeah.
had the front seats to drive and go in, laid the back seat down, laid those out, set gear bags behind the driver and passenger seat, and then closed whatever we had. And then our bed laid all the way from the back seat of the car into the trunk. And that's where we slept every time we went and rodeoed.
Yep.
And then we'd park when we'd find time, or when we'd pull over to sleep at night, we would pull into like Best Western motels, Super 8 motels, like these places at the time that we knew were going to have continental breakfast. And for shit, we'd wake up in the morning and crawl out of the trunk or the door, whatever seemed fit at the time.
Are you hungry?
And we'd go in and get us breakfast as if we just stayed at the hotel.
Can you imagine some elderly lady walking her dog at 7:30 in
You
the
guys just
morning
pile
at the
the
Best
trunk
Western, and like the trunk pops open and out comes
You
Caleb.
guys.
He's like in his sweatpants, and just goes inside and gets breakfast. Like,
Yep. Hey, we did whatever we could. I don't really highly recommend it because I don't remember feeling that good either. But we ate dollar menu stuff, and whatever we could just to keep it as cheap as possible and still make it up and down the road without starving ourselves because we were broke or starving ourselves because we were just that hungry.
Yeah, it's part of the experience of like, I think, mind you, like you said, if you don't have to, it's better not to. But when you're young and you're hungry and you just want to get to the rodeos, having that experience, I'm sure shaped your perspective and what you knew. Hey, I've done that before. I don't want to do that again. And so I'm going to set up my rig to be this way, or I'm going to start meal prepping or whatever because of the experience that you had when you were younger.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, like learning those ways and growing up that way and not just being handed, daddy or mommy's money or whatever to go up and down the road, and has made me, because for the last 6, 7, 8 years now, I've always traveled in a really nice decked out Sprinter van or a truck and camper where I've always been fully comfortable, shower, beds, food, like never had to eat a dollar menu at McDonald's again, like was able to go out and get a good steak, whatever. But that stuff, the way I started eating, traveling, sleeping where we did, made me feel more blessed, thankful, and grateful as the years went on to have a truck and camper, to have this. And I feel like I earned it. I worked for it. I just, you know what I mean? So it's not like I went up and down the road and just this high maintenance stuff, and freaking everybody else is just barely getting by, and I didn't even have to work for it. It was handed to me. Like that right there has always been a huge humbling blessing experience in my life, because I feel like everything at this point in my life I earned, I worked for, and to me that shows something, because it just like you said, when you're young and that hungry, you'll do whatever it takes to go up and down the road, and that's just where I was. But it makes you appreciate the success that you have later on in life.
How did your entire career, like, you don't continue to go to NFRs 10 times and not evolve yourself as an athlete? You weren't the same person you were explaining this your first year at rodeo. So over your career, how did you have to evolve physically, mentally, the whole process to continue to be competitive?
I mean,
a decade later,
it's a simple thing as sitting back and looking at the guys that are making the NFR, or when I started making the NFR and not really getting to where I wanted at the end of those 10 days, sitting in that locker room and looking at a few of them. Okay, what is he doing that I'm not? What's different that he has that I don't? And a lot of that started sinking in. I wish it had sunk in earlier, but after probably my 4th or 5th NFR, I remember sitting back in the locker room at the end of that year, and I just looked around the room, like the Casey Fields, the Bobby Moe, like any of these guys that are just dominating the bareback riding at the time. And what they had that I didn't at the time, is what I thought anyways, was, well, they're stronger, they're bigger than me, and for so many years, I've worked out since I was a sophomore and a freshman in high school. Like, I've been always pretty dedicated to some sort of fitness routine.
Mm-hmm.
Never was guided in a direction that I started getting from you guys when I started with you, Doug. I mean, in 2019 to 2019 or 20 anyway, but that was the turning point for me in my career. Having guidance, nutrition wise, not just thinking I knew everything, having guidance fitness wise, not thinking, I just knew everything. Once again, actually going into the gym with a purpose, with knowing I was going in there and doing stuff that was not only going to make me healthier, better, and stronger, but was going to make me healthier, better, and stronger for riding bucking horses and everyday life, which that's huge. And some of these kids, like, come up and coming, they don't quite even care or know what a gym is. I've had conversations with a couple of them that might even be here at the NFR this week. I don't need to say names, and that's all fine and dandy. Once again, you're young and hungry. Your youth and your ability is going to take you so far. But there comes a point in time when that generation, or that up and coming generation's way younger, you're older, and the only way to keep up is to basically dial your nutrition, take care of your body, and make yourself feel young again.
Mm-hmm.
You can't continue to do what I've done for years and take that kind of beating if you're just going to continue to put harmful, horrible crap into your body and then sit around on the couch and play video games. It just doesn't work. You know, like I've got retired bareback riders that are my same age, good buddies, maybe a year younger, maybe a year older, and we'll have random conversations with them from time to time. And up until this year, they're just like, man, I just don't know. Well, even throughout this year, I guess I was rodeoing, but they're like, I just don't know how you're still going. I can't even get out of bed and touch my own toes in the morning, you know, or tie my shoes or pull a boot on. It's just like, I'm 36 now, and I feel no different, or if not, maybe even better than when I was 24 and 25 and made my first NFR. And that's no joke. Like, I literally do. Am I older? Yeah. But I can still go hit a gym and freaking probably crush all them 19-year-olds' asses that are in the locker room this week. You know, like I just feel that confident in my body and the way I've taken care of myself. But that was the biggest turning point and probably the best thing that's ever happened to me that kept me going this long at a competitive rate, you know, in a competitive place, especially now where you see for the first time in years, these last 2 or 3 years, we've had more talent in this younger generation than I've ever seen as an athlete, as a director, and just paying attention to rodeo as a whole in the bareback riding. And it's awesome to see, but in order to keep up with them, you got to do something different because you got 10 years on them or you have 8 years on them and you don't have that youth anymore.
So you're saying like probably the biggest turning point was 5 years ago when you started training with Doug, but like I'm assuming you had to have multiple, you know, breakthroughs throughout your career up even until that point. So like how long, you said you were about 24, 25 when you made your first NFR?
Yeah, I was 24 years old, 2012.
So it took you a few years then.
Right?
Yep. Okay, so rewind to the sleeping in the car days, eating the fast food. Like what was the breakthrough that took you from that moment to your first NFR? Was there a difference in training, sleep, or anything like that?
Yeah, there was dang sure a difference in training and eating, actually, for the most part. Not as dialed in and whatnot as I have been now since working with you guys. But so going from rodeoing in those years of training, you know, traveling in the car and all that stuff, like the big turning point to making my first NFR was confidence. I finally had found or had the confidence that when I showed up, I knew I was there to win. But what did that for me is it wasn't clearly a, you know, rodeo athlete program, but I had got sick of just nickel and dime myself and not going where I wanted to goal wise rodeoing. So I found basically a pre-planned just nutrition plan, like just for general population, you know, and I followed that for 2 months strictly, you know, was able to lean out, get stronger, lose a bunch of weight that was unnecessary. Because back then I was in college, I might have had some drinking LBs on me at the time.
Say it ain't so.
was not, you know, taking care of business. So cut a lot of that stuff out, started actually eating healthier stuff and working out in a different way that helped just with that confidence mentally. Like that right there, when I left 2011 behind, it was the fall of 2011 that I started all that in October, stuck to it, October, November, December. And come January, I was setting. My first one was Odessa, and I was going. And that drive down to Odessa from Utah at the time was pretty freaking long. But
It still is.
I had nothing but a smile on my face and nothing but confidence. And just doing the behind the scenes stuff that I hadn't done years prior is what gave me that confidence mentally to go in and not even blink an eye. I went from overthinking a ride before I was getting on to smiling, joking, laughing, knowing I'd put in the work. I'd done what it take to win, and I was there to do nothing now but win.
Yeah. You said confidence was the biggest switch, but then you lined out your preparation and what that looked like. And so preparation was probably what you did. That's the thing that you could control, that you took
Yeah.
you took a different stance on, and that had an impact on your confidence. And then,
So
got the ball rolling
It
for
was
you
the
as far as an NFR
preparation,
athlete.
exactly, was the biggest thing that led to the confidence.
I think it's so funny that we say that. Like, confidence always leads to guys saying that. Oh, I showed up and I didn't think about anything. It was awesome. But the guys who have never tried to put in that preparation don't believe it.
Mhm.
They're like, "There's no way that's the
No.
one thing that you're doing that causes you to be that much better." I don't believe you. It's free. Why would I do that?
Yeah,
Always pass on the free stuff.
always.
No, that's
Always.
awesome, man. It's so important to hear that because the amount of time that you've ridden and been competitive is an anomaly. Like, guys have never really done that. Casey retired at 33, 4,
34 maybe.
34.
Has it been 2 years now? that
Yeah.
you've been- yeah.
So what'd you just turn 36?
Just turned 36.
And so you've been competitive all the way up since you were 18 years old. It's almost 2 decades of time. I know there were injuries in between all this. Right?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. So dealing with those setbacks is tough, especially mentally, when all you want to be doing is getting on bucking horses. And usually when you get injured, you're right in the middle of something going really well. I don't know. That always happened to me. Like,
Always.
things would be going so
Always.
well, and I'd be like, "Oh, we're breaking through a bubble," and then roadblock. How do you deal with that, dude? Like, how do you stay positive? How do you stay moving forward through those times? And then over that amount of time, like, I know it hasn't been even 1, 2, or 3 injuries; it's been many more. What keeps pulling you back to getting on bucking horses after that?
The want,
Okay.
the drive, the optimism and the ambition.
Is it that I want to win a world title, or is it that I love
It's-
spurring bucking horses so much that I want to do this as long as I can? Or it could be a mixture of both. But I mean,
It was the goals.
okay, that's what I mean.
It's the
Yeah.
goals that you set for yourself. I always looked at injuries as a detour or a speed bump on my road to hit my goals of what I wanted. And I'm also a firm believer in things happen for a reason. So anytime an injury maybe hit home and sent me home with a minor setback, it was time to sit down, look at the track I was on, see where I was leading off, to get back on the track I needed to be, because I full-heartedly believe it. I've seen it, witnessed it in my own eyes and my own doings, but it literally, injuries and setbacks happen for a reason. There was a reason why God tore my leg into smithereens at Calgary a couple years ago. There's just a reason for all that stuff. And it's usually, I always found myself maybe not knowing it, but until that happened, but I was venturing off on a different trail, like maybe getting into things or doing things I shouldn't have been while trying to compete, or whatever it be, or maybe not being the nicest, best guy I could be to everybody around me, and maybe being that ignorant asshole that, because once again, I'm a firm believer in good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. Well, all those setbacks just gave me time to reevaluate my goals, reevaluate the path I was on to get to those goals, and see where I had taken a wrong turn, whether it would have been my mental game, the way I was being, the way I was acting, the things or people I was around. Like, there's so many factors that could come into that, but it all come down to, what are your goals? Going into rodeo, it's a dangerous sport. You're going to get hurt. It's plain and simple. It's just if and when, how bad, and are you man enough? Are you competitive enough? And are you strong enough mentally to do what it takes to get through that injury, work to get stronger, better for the next time, and go and push through it? And that was always my biggest thing, is I looked at injuries as a way to get stronger, better, faster, whatever it be, to move forward and press forward. And I always have come back from an injury stronger and better than I was before, whether it be mentally, physically, or both.
Do you think that attitude is a decision? Like, you're able to just make up your mind to that? Or did you struggle with them for a little while before kind of coming to that conclusion?
No, it's dang sure. It's up to you. It's dang sure a decision on your own. But I don't feel like I struggled with it because once again I've always been a guy that's big on setting goals, yearly, weekly, monthly goals when I'm competing, and that was always my biggest thing. So like for me, I guess when you have like the board that I have in my gym or have had my forever, when you have all that stuff wrote out on your mirror in your bathroom or on this dry erase board, things happen. The first place I always went was to that board because then mentally that just fueled my fire. And I would go right back to, like I told you, that first year when I made the NFR, that smile on my face and just shake my head because I knew without a doubt in my mind, that's all I tell myself is these guys have no idea what it's going to be like when I come back. They're not going to win a dime because this just freaking pissed me off.
I think it's important to note there that like you didn't just sit idly still. That's the biggest thing that I see with young guys that get hurt is that they're like, hey, there's no need in us to work together right now because I'm hurt. And so I'll just like start back on the mental preparation or start working with you again when I'm healthy. I'm like, dude, this is the biggest mistake that you could do. Don't push pause on those things. This is an opportunity for us to take the next 12 weeks to actually level up. Even though you can't get on bucking horses, you can still and should still be getting better and sharper even in that time.
Absolutely. Ask Doug since he's been coaching me, and we went through some injuries and bad ones. I mean, ones where that leg was so bad I couldn't even walk. But I told him finally after a week of just trying to rest and let my body, start healing, I was like, we got to do something. Upper body workouts, whatever it be. I don't care if I have to crutch. I'll go for a walk and use a crutch on the one leg. But give me something because I can't sit here. Yeah. But I mean, once again, the body heals based off blood flow. If you're sitting around playing video games feeling sorry for yourself, you're just prolonging the healing process. Get your ass up. Go for a walk if it's your upper body extremity that's injured. If it's your lower body, go do an upper body pump. Do something. Do a push-up. Do a sit-up. Blood flow is key.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on the show before. Reciprocal inhibition, is that what it's called? Yeah. Where, say, one side is injured, if you continue to exercise the other opposite side.
Yeah. It's not reciprocal inhibition, but it is. I can't think of the principle. I'm sure freaking geeky Tyler knows over there. Cross education.
There you go. I was like, I knew that didn't sound right, but I knew what I was talking about. Yeah,
leave it to Tyler. He's got it.
He knows everything. He's got the glasses on.
That's why. Good job, Tyler. Thank you.
He's our Jamie. I want to talk about kind of where you're headed, man. Like, how many years in the PRC? I can't even.
Probably to hell if I don't change my ways.
We already knew that. We already knew that.
Oh, sorry, wrong.
You're getting close to 20 years in the PRCA, isn't he?
Like, 2 more years and I get my gold card.
18 years.
That's right.
What if you bought your card at 18? You're 36. No, I was stretching.
I thought you were saying I got 18.
I was stretching. No, not me.
We having a flex off now?
You're fine up. You definitely don't.
I'm a long way from my gold card.
Yeah, 20 years consecutively get your gold card. I'm 2 years away from it. If that gives you an idea. If that gives you any idea of how long I've had my card.
Still competing in the most physically demanding event within rodeo.
At a very high level.
At an elite level.
There comes a point in time, though, like where things start, new chapters are opening. Like you got to start thinking about the next phases of your life. Are you getting into that? Or are we still going till we're 45? Like, where do you stand?
Oh, so this is where we want to go now with this.
I want to know, after all these years and these injuries, how much longer can a body take it? How much more desire is there? Is the desire still there? Is there things that happen in life like that are bigger? Like things change. And like for me, like in the beginning, for 15 years, bareback riding was my entire life. I could think of nothing else that I ever wanted to do. And then things happen and it's like, look where I am now. I'm like, oh man, all those things happen for like really good reasons, right? And I think as rodeo athletes, we get really caught up in this being our sole identity, and this is all that we are. And that's why we see a lot of guys that are retired. We're even talking about our buddies that can hardly move around. They're crippled at 35. They're like depressed and not moving forward with their lives because this was all they had. And I know that's not you.
No.
But I want to know, like, how can I want to hear your, like, where you're headed, but like, how can other guys start not planning for rodeo to be over or like the end, but like it's a real thing that's going to happen one day.
It is. Yeah.
So you have to accept it and move forward. And like, I just want to hear where 20 years of riding bucking horses, what's the next chapter for you?
So speaking of accepting it, I have accepted it as of this year. I just kind of announced to all the guys the other night in the locker room that this was my last and final year as a competitor, as an athlete or riding. So
This was or will be?
this was 2024 was it for me. I am now retired as a bareback riding athlete.
Welcome to the club, big dog. That's so cool.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, my main goal at the end of this year was to finish it off here at the NFR as a competitor, not just as the director, but had another minor setback this year with another injury that kind of took me out of a few weeks of very, very important competition. And I just come back from that and finished the year out strong, felt better than I ever had. Actually started drawing good in the month of September, won almost more in the month of September than I had won all year long. So that was cool. But main reason being, my wife and I are pregnant. So she's carrying a little girl. We found out the other day. And also,
you're so screwed.
oh, not me, her mother,
Yeah.
her
No,
mother.
you're going to be wrapped around that little girl's finger, Bubba.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's either hers or Savannah's. So, I mean, but the only thing is, if the little girl's, I'm wrapped around her finger, sorry, honey. She's got me.
Yeah.
You're chopped liver.
actually-
Just kidding. I love you.
It actually doesn't work that way. You end up being wrapped. You end up being just like wrapped around both of them. So just
It's a
preparation.
double. It's a double.
It's a double edged
God, I've
sword.
only
for
got
sure.
so many fingers to go around. But anyway, her father owns Salmon River Quality Motors and Hamilton RV there up around where we live, Salmon, Idaho, and around Hamilton, Montana. And him and I had a good chat, and he is slowly but surely kind of wanting out. And he presented me with the opportunity to come in and take that business over. Obviously, after a good who knows how many years of actually learning the business and working.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said and presented to me, it was an opportunity in my mind that was hard to pass up. Do I want to be done rodeoing? Not necessarily. I love it. I crave it still. I mean, you could ask Richie. I was the guy still wanting to drive to every rodeo. I didn't care how far it was. I was the guy. I had probably the worst luck drawing a good horse this year that I've ever had in my career, and it didn't matter. I was going to get on him because I thought maybe I could win at least bottom hole, and I would. Did it pay for my trip? No, but it was fun, and I still got to rodeo, and I was still out there doing what I loved. So just with all that had went on this year, and kind of the next step my wife and I are taking is possibly becoming parents and stuff, like it hit home with me this summer when I was sitting out with another injury that this needed to be my last year so that I could be there for her. One thing about, like, I'm 36, still able to, hit a gym, go do all the fun stuff and get around. That really hit home with me because guys can go so long in this and not have a backup plan to a point to where you are done. You can't even get on the ground and play with a kid, play with your child, or pick them up, or go camping or hiking. And I'm still able to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when everything, reality, I guess, just kind of hit. And it's like, Caleb, there is so much more to life beyond rodeo. There is family and living and life. And the camping thing that always stuck out in my mind. We camped all the time as kids. And I sat back and I thought of that. And I was like, I haven't been camping since I was freaking probably 14 years old.
Couldn't.
And I can't wait to go camping again for some stupid reason. But like, so with all that, you know, kind of coming into play, that's what made my decision this year to kind of hang things up, start focusing on family, home, time, you know, and a career that I've been presented with and have an opportunity to really just help set my wife and I and our future kids up for nothing but hopefully success and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't say no to it.
Not that it really matters in the whole scheme of everything, because I'm like super proud of your decision and happy for you and all that. But like, how long have you been keeping this secret from us? Was this like premeditated? Was this the middle of the summer when you decided like this was going to be it?
So yeah, I've kind of kept this on the down low. Honestly, coming into this year, I knew either this 2024 or 2025 was going to be my last. I knew it was going to be one or the other, probably no more than 2 years. But it really didn't hit me, and I didn't even tell my wife or anybody, you know, family related, until probably 1st of September. And it was mid-August when I had that shoulder injury. And I pondered on that while I was at home, and then went back out on the road and pondered on it some more. And the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about being at home and living a different lifestyle, the more excited I got.
Mm.
And that's when I knew the time had come. And that's when I finally told my wife. But I kept it from every other rodeo athlete buddy of mine, you guys. Like, I kept it from immediate family, like literally my wife, Savannah, and Dave and Marcy, her two parents, because I had to start talking to Dave, you know, hey, shit's about to get real and get serious here on your end and mine, because this is happening. So those were the only three that knew. Well, literally probably clear up until maybe a couple weeks ago. I mean, I told Richie, I guess, because he's my traveling partner, I knew he's going to have to look for someone else to go with, like right there at the end of September. I did break the news to Doug while we were hunting a week ago. So, yeah, I've kept it a secret until about a week ago.
That feels like so much longer than a week ago.
And it was only about a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Feels like so much longer.
But yeah, I've kept, and the reason being, and it might be weird, it's probably weird to most, but it wasn't to me, is rodeo and riding bucking horses, it will always be a passion and a love of mine, and I'm never going to lose that. But the career I've had has been so blessed, so humbling, and such a roller coaster ride, huge experience, that I wanted to tell this group of guys in Vegas in the locker room first, in person, not over a phone call or something, why they were all together, and just basically thank them, especially them younger guys, for keeping my fire lit, because they did for as long as it's been and throughout this year. And I personally wanted to tell them before I let it all out of the bag. And then after that, then it's just taken off from there. And I've been telling everybody with a smile on my face. And that's another reason and another thing, that way I know that this is the right place for me to be, and the right stepping stone in this next chapter, is I've said it with a smile on my face, nothing sad, no tears, no worries, no concerns. And I'm seriously looking forward to it. I'm going to miss the road, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to miss bucking horses, and I'm going to miss the friends. But I think it's those friends and those relationships and those behind the bucking shoots, you know, shenanigans that we all do and have fun with. Those are what I'm going to miss more than anything. And that camaraderie that us bareback riders have, and just the sport of rodeo, period. Like, I'm going to miss that. But I'll still be around, because they claim they still want me to be their director. My term is up as of April into 2025, but they claim, I told them too, when I told them I was done, I said, this doesn't change the fact that I will still be your director. If you guys want to vote me back in, I will still gladly do that for you, because to me, that's my way of still being able to have a foot in the door of something I'm still so passionate and love so much, that I can easily fade out, versus just, well, see you later. I guess I'll just throw every garbage or every cowboy hat in the garbage and whatever, long sleeve shirt, pair of pressed pants that I have, and be done. Never look at it again. I don't want that. I'd like to ease out of it, and I mean, really, I don't ever have to ease out of it. I'd still like to have a foot in the door and the hand involved in rodeo with schools and whatever else I do going down the road.
Yeah, this is just wild. I'm so happy for you because it's just it's going to be a huge change, but such a good change. And we're going to get to go hunting so much more.
I know. And I'm nervous. Don't think I'm not nervous.
Oh, yeah. Man. That's a good thing, though.
I don't know a damn thing about the car business.
No, I think I always like those kind of nerves are good. No, you don't. But you're going to learn. And Dave knows everything about the car business.
Oh, yeah.
You have a really good teacher.
He's the king. He's the king.
I want to just quick, like not rundown, but like I have some questions about historical stuff in rodeo. What's your favorite horse ever?
Favorite horse ever? Present or not? Because I have two.
He said ever.
Oh, I guess they could be dead. So,
well, they're not dead. They're just retired too.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have two of them.
Okay.
And I have to say two of them because they're the two horses I've been on more in my career than any other horse and won more money on. One, currently still being an animal athlete, Virgil. I've probably been on him 9 times, I think.
Is he here tomorrow?
He is out tomorrow in the TV pen.
Did they already draw for him yet?
No, we draw tonight after the performance. So be watching for that matchup. And then Street Dance.
Oh, dude.
Kessler's.
What a cool
841
horse.
Street Dance.
What a cool horse.
Yeah, she always was missing that left shoulder because a bear attacked her as a colt. That was the story behind that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like tore
she
tore her whole shoulder.
Yeah.
She had that big indent. The cool thing, you could never miss her out on that left side. But those would have to be my two favorites. I can't tell you how many times I'll bet I had Street Dance probably 15 plus times. And there was never one in there that was lower than 87 points. And one's first or second between all the big rodeos. I'm talking Cloverdale, Calgary, like you name it. I had her at the NFR. I've had her at Pinoca. I mean, countless places. Won Denver on her.
She's super cool. I never got to get on that one. Did you?
Mm-mm.
No.
That'll be your guys' great white buffalo.
There you go.
The one that got away.
Any bareback rider that you could compete against again, or one that could have been from the past, like a legend. If you could compete against any one guy again, or for the first time, who would it be?
Casey Field.
I love that.
Without a doubt.
Got to. Yeah.
I loved when he was in the same locker room, same perf, same rodeos as me. And we competed against each other technically our entire careers. But there was always something different when I could see him and ride with him in that perf. Mm-hmm. He always had a way, and he's such a nice guy, and literally we call him the GOAT for a reason. Mm-hmm. But when he was up with me, I would purposely try to get in the same sets as San Antonio, Houston, all them tournament style rodeos as he was in Calgary, because his winning attitude, his winning ability to ride fueled me and drove me like no other. Whether I beat him or not, it didn't like affect me mentally if he beat me. It just made me want to get that much better. Mm-hmm. And I loved riding against that guy. And I loved when I did beat him, which is very rare, but I did.
Let's start lining up an unfinished business bronc match. We'll let you enjoy retirement for a couple years.
I don't know.
Maybe like 2 years from now, we can run you and Casey back for
big charity.
Do we have like a novice division where Doug and I could get on too?
maybe we could, but I heard a rumor, and I haven't seen him and got to talk to him long enough to ask if it's true, but I did hear a rumor, and if it's true, he's probably going to hate me for saying it, but I still am going to say it. He's thinking about cracking out just for the American.
I knew that was going to happen. I knew it.
That's just a rumor. I haven't got full confirmation.
Yeah. That'd be the only thing that makes sense.
We'll stand here and speculate on it.
So, I mean, maybe if...
Could you use another million? Yeah, I think I could use another million.
If that's the case, I might have to jump in there and take that another million from him.
I like that.
Okay,
I like that.
okay, so it might be happening sooner than I thought. All right.
He would have to go through all the qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it would be like how Richie won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we both would,
Yeah,
based off of the way they take them nowadays.
dude, that would be fun.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
You
You
guys
better
come
tell us
in.
a lot sooner than you told us about this.
We got some prep
Okay,
work
no
to
more
do.
secrets anymore from you guys. I apologize.
Secrets don't make friends, Bennett. They don't keep friends either. Oh, dude, congratulations on an incredible career.
Thank you.
We've been an honor to be a part of it and train you for the last, 5 years. And I'm excited for your future, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna
me
actually
too.
be real neighbors now that get to see each other.
I know.
It's awesome.
I mean, it was kind of like I was already retired the last few weeks until I finally told you, because we were hanging out
I know.
way more
I
than
knew
you and
something
your
was
brother.
changing. Something was different.
Why does he keep calling me?
Dude, well, good luck with everything. We'll obviously be having you back on the show. You'll be coaching with us a little bit, even when you're running the truck dealership. If you don't want to, you don't have a choice. You're still going to coach.
Perfect, because I want to.
Well, man, thank you. Thank you for coming here. And everyone, thank you for listening. And we'll catch you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Boom.
Man, was that an hour already?
Yeah, dude.